Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 5 of Man of Steel, 1986 series comic review. Now, as you know, the Man of Steel series was meant to cover the new version of the post-crisis version of Superman, and eventually in the Man of Steel series, much like Lex Luthor, we eventually got a version of Bizarro. Now, in the post-crisis, there were some different versions of Bizarro. The first post-crisis one was meant to be more of a flawed clone, with a completely different name. And the cover mainly has Bizarro doing things backwards, and let's get on with the story. It starts off with Superman saying, "You're getting sloppy, Luthor." And he's quick to point out that he knew Luthor was behind this thing, and once the goon comes around, he's going to find out more about this, as he had ID, known the spacesuit, but Lex Luthor is quick to point out that the spacesuit was used for, basically, space missions, as well as the guy was fired some time ago, and that the guy is in a vegetable state now, as the suit has a lot of dangerous capabilities. But Superman leaves, promising that he is going to expose him. So afterwards, Lex Luthor heads to his secret lab where he meets Professor Dr. Ten, who is meant to be Chinese and was escaped from the mainlands. And he's quick to show Lex Luthor his new cloning device, which can replicate any forms of human DNA. But turns out, Superman's DNA is much different, as he's not from this solar system. And they find out that because the DNA, his machine can copy other forms, it can't copy alien DNA. And he's like, he's perfect, Suit Tang. And he points out that the body is starting to crystallize and that, but Lex Luthor berates him for failing and decides to head back to Metropolis, telling him to dispose of the body. We see how Lois Lane, back at Metropolis, is seeing how her sister Lucy is, and keep in mind that because of a hijacking, someone threw something at her face that caused her to go blind. And this is where she tries to be sounding supportive and tries to tell Lois not to worry about her, but secretly is just depressed. We see how we think Superman is trying to help an ambulance after a flat tire lands them down. And at first they think it's Superman, but they realise it's not. And we know it's Bizarro. Just as Lucy's about to commit suicide, we see that Bizarro is quickly able to save her and wonders where Superman is. And we see how Lois Lane welcomes everyone after getting back from her apartment. And pretty much Superman asks how's Lucy been, but you can tell Lois is trying to sort this out, even the doctors as well. Jimmy Olsen quickly shows up to say about a story about a break-in with some clothes and everything else. Clark Kent hasn't peeked down at with his X-ray vision and sees down at the lobby that someone is down there, and quickly goes in to sort of find out what's going on, and pretty much learns to his shock that there's an exact copy of him. And of course, it has all his powers and abilities. And of course, Superman has to try and destroy the costume before anyone can put two to two together. Especially Lois Lane. And we see how Bizarro's X-ray vision is quite dangerous. We see how Superman has to try and outwit Bizarro. And pretty much, after seeing that Lois is there, he has to quickly destroy the costume to make sure she doesn't put two to two together. And yeah, you've got a more darker blue version of Bizarro's costume. And just then, since it has its memories, it tries to take Lois Lane back to her apartment, where Superman has to fly to sort of stop him. And we see how Bizarro, since it has its memories, tries to kiss Lois. And we also see how Lucy Lane's vision is slowly being repaired due to the creature's chemicals in his body. And we also see how Superman quickly tries to take down Bizarro to little to no avail. And just as he throws him down, Superman realizes by using his microscopic vision that it's not fully alive, it's more of a kind of walking sort of computer sort of thing. As Superman flies up, he quickly takes out Bizarro, destroying the creature, and we see how Lucy Lane's vision is now back to normal, and even Superman figures out that Bizarro knew that her vision needed to be repaired, and probably says, but somehow I think he did. And yeah, this is the story. So issue 5 is sort of okay. I think they just throw Bizarro in as a kind of one-shot thing, even though eventually we would get the real Bizarro. I kind of felt the ending could have had Bizarro being defeated, and having Clark put Bizarro in the Fortress of Solitude to keep him there for further notice. It would have been a better ending, but it's just how I see it. So I give it a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.